but it puts my life in perspective, in a way. It's like, wow.
Oh, for sure. Sure. All right, I turned my webcam on. So you guys can see that behind. Yep.
Oh, do I have to do that? I don't want to do
No,
that.
I'm just doing it briefly to make some announcements. It's better communication. It doesn't work with panels because we can't do one on each panel on each screen.
Well, thank God, because I didn't put any makeup on today.
But like, this is the way that I teach my negotiation class every month here in the world, is because I talk with my hands a lot, so it better. Okay, we're 3 till. Joey, if you want to.
Yeah, I'm going to go live in 10 seconds.
Great, that sounds good. So
Hi, Stephen.
Hello. See up on stage. Great.
Do you want us in any order, Julie, across the stage?
No, I think just up front across the stage. And Eileen, there you go. There was something really wrong with your head on stage. That always looks so weird. So I'm just going to do some. Flexible. Hey, Stephen. Okay, and hello. Eileen and I are sporting the pink Pride avatar here, and we decided we're just going to stay that way for the whole month. So a little.
I just figured in real life I have no hair at all, so I wanted to keep it real, keep it simple, keep it for real.
I think it's important that you show up authentically, with your shiny head. So I'm so glad you're here. So we're going to officially get started in just a couple minutes. So glad y'all are here. Happy Pride Month, my friends. So let's do this. Woohoo! So let's do a little chat participation. And so type into the chat box where you're from. Where are you? Where are you right now? Who's in the room? And I think we have some staff people as well. Oh, and of course I have a little background noise for y'all that I may have to go deal with, but that can wait a few minutes. Huh? Atlanta. How hot? Toronto, yay. Across Raleigh. Pacifica. Awesome. Okay, cool. And how long with EXP? Let's see what we have going on there. I always like to see how many years in real estate and how many with EXP. So I can start with that. So there's my numbers. 2 and 2. Awesome. 1 and awesome. Welcome to EXP and 8 and 18. Good. Nice. Deanna, rock on. Deanna, our numbers are similar. Stephen, cool, awesome. So, hey guys, it's 1 o'clock. So I'm just going to get started with a few announcements. My name's Julie Nelson. I'm in Austin, Texas. I am one of the leaders and founders of the EXP Pride Network, and we're so thrilled to pull together the programming for Pride Month. And as you'll see, one of the screens, I think on the far right on the stage, shows you the schedule for the month. Every Wednesday in June, we have a session at, I always have to do the math, at 11 a.m. Pacific. So it's 1 p.m. Central. Do your time zone math. But every Wednesday in June, and there's 5 of them, we have a special session for you. Really excited about the programming we're bringing. So today's session is our icon panel. Next week is 2 national coaches, which happens to be me and Sherry Swift, who is a president of one of the LGBT industry organizations as well, and an EXP agent. So we're going to talk about agents improving their businesses and their lives. Then we have our Next Gen Achievers panel on June 16th. We have a housing equality panel on June 23rd with a special guest. I'm really thrilled to announce that that session on Wednesday, June 23rd, includes Alexia Smokler, who's the NAR Senior Policy Representative for Fair Housing. And it's plus a few panel members from within EXP. So really excited about that. And then the last Wednesday of the month, we're having our Pride Network Techie panel. So it's top tips from our top techs. So I'm really excited about that as well. Then right after that last session, so on the last Wednesday of the month, we have our Pride Parade, and this will be our second annual in the world, little Pride Parade around the EXP campus. And then we will end that at the Pride Disco, where we have a live DJ for a 45-minute disco. So really excited about that. Really glad you guys are here. One ask is that everyone help promote all of our Pride Month activities so we can drive people to these sessions, and also to participate in the Pride Month conversations in the Pride Network, in One EXP, anywhere in workplace, to just really help people find us, build the energy, and build the conversation. We are live streaming all of the sessions, so links will be available. So each of these sessions, you'll be able to take a link, and you'll be able to find those on, we'll post them on the workplace page. So you'll be able to take that link and share them on your other social media outlets, Facebook, et cetera. So I'm really excited, and thank you for EXP staff, and to Joey, who's in the room right now, for really making that technology happen. So with that said, I am going to exit the stage, and I am going to turn things over to Eileen and this awesome panel of Pride Network icon agents. I'll let you guys do the intro and run with the program, and I am going to turn off my webcam so you're not having to stare at my pride face the whole time. All right, Eileen, it's all yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Julie, for always giving us great information and our leadership for the group. So today we are going to talk to 3 top icon panel agents here. They are very successful in their business, and I thought it would be really fun to be able to get a little bit of information so they can share with us, more about who they are, and also their business and tips and tricks that they have learned and put into place over the years. So we're going to start with a brief introduction. So being that Stephen is closest to me, I'm just going to say, take it away, Stephen. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you live, where you're from, and your business.
Well, hey, you said Stephen Norris here, based in Raleigh, North Carolina. Have an amazing team of some amazing folks. Really, they keep me sane as much as anyone can, and been in real estate for about 9 years, EXP about 2.5. I came from a Realogy brand, and definitely have not looked back since being here. And really have enjoyed being really involved with not only EXP, but our industry in whole, with NAR and everyone else. So glad to be here, love to give back, and let's hope that we can learn some stuff today.
Awesome, thank you. So next we will go to, looks like it is Melissa. So go ahead, Melissa.
Hey y'all, thanks for coming out today. Happy Pride to everyone. I am from Austin, Texas, born and raised in Austin, Texas. I will probably never leave. I've been in real estate almost 10 years, and with EXP since 2015, Agent 600 in Texas. So I'm very proud of that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys ways that I've been able to elevate my business and become successful. And I'm really interested also in learning from Steve and Deanna as well. As I see, they are very successful. And I just look forward to having some fun today. So thank you for coming.
Awesome, thanks. And go ahead, Deanna, give us your info.
All right. Hey, guys. I am, was born in North Carolina, and I am licensed in North and South Carolina. Run a real estate team with my wife, and very happy to be here and answer any questions, and hopefully provide some tidbits that will be helpful for anybody wanting to also icon, as the rest of the panel here has. And happy Pride Month. And let's see what we can do today.
Awesome, thank you. You mentioned that you work with your wife in your business. Do either of you other icon agents, do you work with your partners or husband, wife?
So yes and no. Like if I worked close with my husband, I would be arrested for murder. However, my husband does work for EXP. He's actually the product manager for brokerage operations and enterprise. So we roundabout work together, but he is not an agent. He supports agents.
I'm kind of on the line with you, Stephen. Now, my spouse, so I guess we can dive in a little bit. I land on the L, and my husband is now on the T of the spectrum. So when I reference my husband, MJ is what I'll call him because he goes by MJ. Well, he was with EXP and licensed, but now he kind of is taking a background role in my business, and we'll be doing some different things this year to expand my business. He makes up for about 25% of my referral business. So in that capacity, he is a part of my team and has been pretty tremendous in my business. He's a vet, he's an Army vet, and he helps bring a lot of business for me. And he's kind of he's a character. You can ask Julie. He's very I don't know how you would explain him. Never meets a stranger. So no, not official in an official capacity, but he definitely helps me.
Awesome, thank you. So I think we're going to shift gears a little bit and just to kind of go back to like where you started from. So if you could let's go in the same order that we just went, and give us some information about what your first 2 years in the business looked like for you. Were you on a team? Were you a single agent? And an idea of how many transactions you did in your first year.
So my first year, like I'd never really considered myself much of a failure until my first year in real estate. I remember I made $13,000 and I spent, half of that just to get started with dues and all that fun stuff. I went solo, then I ended up joining a team because my background was HR and team building was a thing. So I helped a local team leader build her team up. Second year was a little bit different. I went from 13 to 98. So it was a huge jump because I was like freaking out because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do whatever it takes at this point. And you name it, I was driving you, hooing and hauling and all kinds of good stuff. But it was my 13th month in business. I think I had 11 closes. And I'm like, where did all these people come from? And I was so busy working on getting everything to the finish line, I did not realize that, like, oh, I'm not going to get paid for the next 2 months or 3 months because I had not kept working on my business. And that's when I once again reevaluated the business. So during my first full year is when I realized, like, okay, I need to, figure out a structure so that I can continuously grow as an individual and keep growing the business and making sure that it's sustainable. But it was after that first year of tears that I, had my first reevaluation. So I had to reinvent myself probably twice within my first 2 years. And it was hard, but I feel like every couple years we have to reinvent ourselves anyways to, maintain relevancy. Enter Blockbuster and Sears as examples.
Exactly, we're always changing. So, Melissa, would you be able to share with us your first 2 years?
Very interesting. So, since I'm in Austin, you'd be interested to know that I actually had a real estate coach with the broker I was with. I believe they probably make you do it now, but back then it was by choice. And so I had the wonderful Julie Nelson. Hats off to Julie. She was great. I mean, she was very honest with me when I became an agent, and I don't know, she had a lot of confidence in me, and that just gave me confidence in myself. After about a year, I ended up joining a team as a buyer's agent. And at the time, Austin was what I say was going through their first wave, their first California wave. And the team that I was on, we were doing kind of like some really unreal transaction numbers a month. I think on average, and this is 2 years in the business, was probably closing anywhere between 5 to 8 a month. And we were working a lot of Zillow leads. That's when Zillow was really popular back then. And so getting my feet wet wasn't even how it happened for me. I dove right in. And I think I stayed on that team for a couple of years before I joined EXP. So if I could go back and think of the sales I had then, price points were way different, but I was doing a lot of sales, but I was having a commission split that was not an ideal business structure. And I wanted to own my own sales. That was always really important to me. And when you're on a team with that broker, you know, you have the rainmaker and they own your sales. So I made a really tough decision to say, no, I'll own my sales. I'll have my own cap, and then you can take your split. Again, that was not sustainable. Left, joined EXP, and you know, the rest is history. You know, with EXP, I had a team early on, and quickly realized that, you know, I needed to either make the team smaller or focus on my own personal business, which is what I did. And we can dive in more about what I did, but the rest is history. The first 2 years were pretty crazy for me.
What about you, Deanna?
I was a Division I athlete and worked in pro sports after college. And then I wanted to get into real estate investing. So I got my sales license, and then at that time got my broker's license because North Carolina was changing to a broker-only state. I really wanted to get into investing more than helping clients, but I started helping my coworkers. And at that time I worked for the NBA and the WNBA. And so my first clients were coworkers, since we were working the same crazy schedules. And I started helping them and realized how much I enjoyed, you know, that service piece of helping them find a home or sell a home. And so then I ended up putting my 2 weeks notice in and left pro sports and did real estate full time. My first year in real estate, I was still working, you know, for a bit of that, I did 15 transactions. I made less than $40,000 net and did less than $3 million in production. But for me to not be micromanaged in a corporate environment with a very low glass ceiling, I was very comfortable with that. And the next year was pretty similar. I was on a team. I had an agent that kept pursuing me to leave my job to take on this real estate adventure. And I just kept telling him to make me an offer. And he said, there's no offers in real estate. And I said, well, okay, make me an offer. So he did make me an offer. So the first team I joined, I was actually kind of worked off a draw so that I would feel comfortable. And that draw was only in place for 1 month before I had my first transaction. So he didn't have to do that moving forward. But in that position on the team, within a couple years, I became the rainmaker, and he needed to move on he actually went back to corporate America. So in my career, I have either been on a team or since meeting my wife, we've run a team together. But the beginning, it's interesting because the beginning was all hustle. It just felt like hustle, hustle, hustle. Everything I was doing I was hustling, and I was on the streets, and I was door knocking, and I was doing open houses, and I was creating flyers and hanging them up at the Y. And majority of my clients came from my extracurricular activities. I was probably playing on 8 or 9 sports teams a week since it was pre-wife and pre-kids. I really didn't have much to do besides be social and work. So those first couple of years, I feel like the business came from me just interacting with people, whether it was previous coworkers or current teammates. That is where the majority of my business came from in the beginning.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. I like all of your background there. So what did it look like then, or what was the key for you to kind of get into that momentum when things started to click for you, when you started, the light bulb started to go off and you're like, okay, like Stephen said, I have to reinvent myself. What, if you could share with us what that looked like for you when you had these moments of clarity where you decided to make changes.
Well, for me, for Deanna, it was honestly, it was meeting my wife, which was, she had gotten her real estate license. I'm 8 years her senior, so she had gotten her real estate license after myself, and she was looking online to see if there was a little niche for LGBTQ, and my face kept popping up, and then that is honestly how we actually kind of connected and met, and then married and have 3 kids and 2 dogs and all kinds of stuff together. So what really pushed me was meeting her, because she still does have big goals, big dreams, and a big drive. We balance each other because I'm the implementer. So she says she wants to do 20 million in production. We do 20 million in production, if not more. She says she wants to do 50 million in production. So that really, I was very comfortable with the production that I was doing, and it did, I would say, year 3 started to double and then continued to double from there. When we met, our first year of working together, we did 10 million and 34 transactions. 2 years later, we were doing 20 million and 90 transactions. 2 years later, we exceeded 500,000 in net commissions. And last year exceeded 700,000 and 122 transactions. So for me, it was a driver. It was meeting that person that kind of forced me to push myself, step outside my comfort zone, and go for something that was bigger than I had thought we could achieve.
Wow, that's pretty awesome to be able to double like that in period. So sounds like she definitely keeps you in line. All right, so let's just have anybody jump in here as far as that goes. Tell me a little bit about how you got in momentum, Steve.
How you got into what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
How you got into momentum, like what was the first 2 years of your business look like? I'm sorry, what did you look like, and the key that you had, like what was the key for you to get into momentum, to get to that next level? What you said earlier when you were describing your first 2 years, that you only did a certain amount of transactions your first year, and then you realized that that was painful and you had to try to figure out and reinvent yourself. Just tell us a little bit more about that. What did that look like for you, and how did you go about it?
Gotcha. Well, the first thing is pick up your phone, right? It really becomes a mindset. The mindset is every single day when we wake up, we are unemployed. Every single day we wake up, we meet people, and we have to ask them for a job. So we need to be ready at any point in time to do a job interview. And so it was really changing that mindset that no one owed me anything. It was up to me to create that value proposition. In a world where everyone watches HGTV, or I like to call it Sci-Fi Channel, because that's not the real way of how real estate works. Everybody knows a realtor, and everybody knows that person that claims that they're the best. But the only thing that differentiates you from any other person in this room or any firm or whatever is you, your authentic self. So I stopped doing that whole like, okay, in order to be a realtor, I have to drive an RX 350, and I have to do this, this, and this. So I got really involved. I became the first governor and president for North Carolina for the Women's Council of Realtors. I, got really involved with, I've written some stuff, and I got involved with NAR, NCR, Raleigh Regionals on the boards. I did all of these things to learn the industry and be a part of something. My granddaddy used to say, should or get off the pot. If you want to make a change, if you want to have a voice, you got to pull a chair up to the table. So the big thing for me was just changing the mindset and saying, hey, by the way, I'm going to be in this, and I'm going to completely invest in myself, in my industry, in my career by getting involved. I'm going to realize that no one owes me anything, and I'm going to be myself completely and authentically. And by doing that, I will have the confidence, because I don't have to pretend to be anyone other than who I am. When I start asking people for those jobs, when I meet people, my personality comes through. And that way, the people that are attracted to me are the people that I want to work with, because they're the people that see me. And therefore, my most valuable resource becomes joy. And I get to enjoy what I do. And when you love what you do, then you can do more of it. And so every day, even though you're asking for that job, it's almost like being retired, because you do love what you do. So the key was just changing that mindset and picking up the phone, because I didn't know who was going to offer me a job that day. So, since then I've actually, trademarked keeping it real in real estate, because that's really how I want to see, who I am and what I represent.
I like that a lot. It's very powerful to be able to be who you are and not worry about, what other people think. You're just going to.
Right. And goals should be based upon how many people you help, transition in their life. Because when people buy and sell a home, we got to remember they're getting divorced, or they're getting married, having babies, downsizing, someone's passed away. And so when we're able to, help those folks, and we make our goals based upon helping people, then the money comes. Since then, I mean, fast forward this year, I'll probably do over 200, transactions, and I don't feel like I'm doing that much, because I'm just having fun and working with people that I love. And same thing with our team. It's a very diverse team of folks, and so that we can better represent our community. And really, there's something for everyone. So when you get someone that doesn't work for you, there's someone that's a part of your sphere that can help that person. So you really can help anybody. You can help more people transition, and you can make a true difference in the community.
Wow, that's excellent. And Melissa, what about yourself?
A shift for me after the 2 years in the business was, I do say when I came over to EXP, I did do a mind shift, and kind of like what Stephen said, and I think it might have been you, Deanna, that you were just working. And for me, it became like, all right, so I went from being a buyer agent to a business owner. When I joined EXP, I was provided with the tools that allow me to be a true business owner. And I am the first in my family to own a business, and I operate in that mindset. So yes, I'm a realtor, I'm a real estate agent, but for me, the shift was becoming a business owner. And then I had to ask myself, who am I in the business? So I would ask my friends and past clients, or people, that may have been an acquaintance. And I asked, what do you think of when you see me, as a business person, as a realtor? How would you describe me? And the words that I always got, or were, the feedback I would get was, you're relatable and trustworthy. And so I thought, well, that's what I want to be in my business. I want to help people. And I always say my business is real estate, but my passion is people, and I want to help people. And I drive every day with that. I want to help people. And in becoming a business owner and changing that mindset, I have, multiplied my transactions tremendously. And I said in 2019, I really want to focus on listings. How can I become a better listing agent? And, it was answering my phone, obviously. One of the things they say about realtors is they don't answer their phone. I said, well, that's not going to be me. I'll always answer my phone. It may not always be about real estate, but some way, one of those calls is going to be a referral. It's going to be someone inquiring about a sign, a house, a sign call. It'll be something. So answering your phone, showing up in the business. The shift for me was putting myself in the mindset as a business owner. I don't, I'm an individual agent. I don't have a team, but I just put in the chat that when I think of my team, I think of my title rep, who has helped me farm specific neighborhoods in my area, get really creative with how I farm. I do some non-traditional farming, but a lot of it is social media now. Let's see, your escrow officer, I have a really close relationship with her. She will do a lot of title work for me if I ask her, because I am loyal to her and she's helped me in my business and we've helped each other grow. Those relationships are so important. My handyman, he's great. If I have a listing appointment and you get a seller across from you, they're totally overwhelmed, I always say, hey, look, don't worry, call Joey, or let's call Joey right now. Show me what you're concerned about with your house, and let's see if we can fix it before we hit the market. And, I have a stager that I work with. She gives me special prices because I only use her. So building these relationships has been pretty tremendous for me. A photographer, there's tons of photographers, there's tons of great photographers, but I want to build a relationship with someone who, is in line with my branding and how I would present a listing. Last year, I had 53 transactions as an individual agent, and about 40 of those were listings. So I did everything I could in 2019 to make sure that when 2020 ended, I met my goal. And that was, I really wanted to be dynamic in listings. And with the shift that's happening in Austin, it's been my saving grace. I think Julie can tell you, it's in Austin right now, it's insane. And it feels really good to have that step up in the listing business. So that's a little bit about how I leveled up and how the shift happened for me. And I know it looks different for everybody, but that's how it happened for me.
Well,
one more thing I wanted to say, Eileen. One of the things that a coach told me one time, and she's sitting in the audience with pink hair and a yellow jacket, was Melissa, make sure you ask for the business. And I have a lot of friends who are realtors, and they say, how the heck do you get all these listings? Well, what I do is, yes, we have DocuSign, but I do print a folder every single time. Yes, I have this listing presentation in one folder. I I sit and I talk to the sellers, normal conversation. I know I'm be there for at least 2 hours because I talk a lot. And I say to them, okay, in this folder is all the things that you need to know about me, my sales, volumes, local sales, all the fluff. And in this folder is all the practical stuff. And they never take the other one. They always take the practical stuff. And in that is always a listing agreement that I've already signed, and I don't leave until they sign it. But if I feel that they're getting uncomfortable, I still ask for the business. And I always assume that I have that listing unless they say to me, we've hired someone else. I will always operate that I have that listing. I will follow up with them. And I would say 8 out of 10 times, I don't leave without a signed listing agreement. And, maybe on those other 2, I may not get it, or they'll just sign later via DocuSign. But I don't know, that's helped me a lot in my business. Thank you, Julie.
Wow, that's great. I definitely see
You're a good student.
Thank you.
I definitely see a theme with the 3 panelists as far as the relationship building and having that connection with other people and actually helping people. That's what they thrive on. So that's that from everybody. So what was your formula then? Well, let me shift gears for a second. So we talked about how you guys made that, realizations, and you had these changes and how you went about with your business and getting you to that next level. But let me just kind of move to a different area and ask you, just for your opinion, why do you think that agents struggle when they first get into real estate? What you've all been on teams, you have teams now. What do you feel is the biggest reason why agents struggle?
I would say that I think that a lot of agents that get into the business are commission driven instead of service focused. And I think that's a huge downfall.
Can you elaborate on that just a little bit more?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of commission breath?
Yep.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of agents that get into the business have heard that, realtors make a lot of money. We sell houses and we make thousands and thousands of dollars. But what they don't understand is the work and effort and follow up and relationship building and service and the answering the phones and responding to people and everything that does go into that one, client or lead to kind of create that relationship to where they allow us to help them, buy or sell their home. And then we go through that whole process. So anytime we have agents that join our team or joining EXP, we always make sure that, we talk to them about, service needs to be at the center of what you're doing. If you provide an exceptional level of service, then the commissions will follow. You'll also get referred to other clients. My first one little quick story. I had a client that wanted to look at a property, and it was a $40,000 property. And I went and met him because I'm a big believer in equality all across the board. And so price point isn't, again, a driver for me, but how can I help? So I met this client and we hit it off, and they said, most realtors don't want to meet us at these properties because they're less than $50,000. And I said, it's not a problem for me. I want to help you with whatever price point you need. So I helped them buy a condo, a townhome. It was $38,000. They were very happy with the level of service I provided despite the price point. And then I helped them buy 7 more properties that year. That client became a client for life. And then I continued to talk to them about real estate and how they should get their license. So he did, and he's now a member of our team, and his first year in real estate was last year. And he did, I think, 26 transactions and made just under $100,000 himself being on our team. So you never know, but again, all of that was centered at service.
Great. And Melissa, what about you?
Is my mic on? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, just want to make sure. Oh, I think the question was, Eileen, how the agents struggle in the business in the beginning?
Yeah, just kind of like, just your opinion of why do you think agents struggle?
Yeah, so it's intimidating, right? You're looking at all these agents. Wow, how are they doing it? Look at all those sales they have, and tend to compare themselves. I was guilty of it. I may still feel that way. With looking at these great, dynamic agents. So really, I think that and maybe I'm speaking for myself in the beginning of my business, but I feel that you suffer from that from time to time. The confidence I think that we've all been guilty of it. But that's my opinion on why agents struggle in the beginning, or maybe not have the contacts, maybe don't have the database. And I had this, and I cannot remember, it might have been Gene. I don't know if you guys have ever sat into one of his classes or panels, but is it Gene, Julie? He's got the book where he says, how many people can you talk to about business? And a long time ago, I thought, boy, he's just going to talk to everybody. Is it Gene? Julie?
It is, yeah.
So it's so funny. You know, my mom laughs at me all the time every time we're somewhere. But if you're an agent and you're struggling, I would like to know if you guys are asking for the business or having conversation about real estate. One of the things that I do all the time, maybe to a fault, is I talk to strangers, and it drives my family crazy. But I will talk to anybody, and I can guarantee you real estate will come up in some capacity. Sometimes they'll have an agent, sometimes they'll be an agent. But I always say, I will always have a business card in my purse. I will always have an electronic business card. Hey, let me text you really quick. You know, let me know if you ever need help buying or selling. Do you know anybody who may need to buy or sell? Always, always, always. So if you're an agent and you've ever been through that, you know, even if you're shy, put yourself out there, have a conversation. Maybe not ask for the business, but maybe just mention that you're a realtor. Maybe you're at a party. I mean, of course, it's COVID still, but maybe you're at the grocery store. I'll talk to anybody about real estate. Sometimes, Eileen, I think it's just being shy or intimidated. Don't ever feel that way, guys. You know, you can get past that. I believe in you.
Yeah, I know it is. It can be a little bit intimidating. You feel like you might say the wrong thing, or that, you know, might know that you're newer or you're struggling. So I can totally understand. But yeah, just working at it, learn your scripts, do all the things that you need to do to be able to put yourself into that next level. So great feedback there. So as far as like, was getting to icon status something that you had as a goal that you were working towards, or is it something that just sort of happened based on your production?
I'll dive in on this one. I was like, Melissa Ann, you are going to be an icon agent. You're already doing the sales. You know, what's a few more, right? And I made it a personal mission to do so. And it kind of lined up around the time that I was making that shift in my business, or like Stephen says, reinventing yourself, which I do feel we need to do that ever so often, and to keep up with the sign of the times, right? When I first started in real estate, Facebook was just, you know, I would say being used more for talking about business. I don't even think they had, I think they were just starting Facebook business back then, but you know, I really toted the line on the 80-20 rule, you know, talking about my business on my personal and business page. But as far as Icon is concerned, I made it a personal mission. I was doing that shift in my business where I wanted to become more active in my market for listings. And I ended up moving to a little small town outside of Austin called Manor. And I just said to myself, I don't see why I can't own this neighborhood. Of course, there's other fantastic agents out here, but I thought, this is my path to Icon. I'm going to farm this neighborhood. I'm going to work this town. I was included on some panels and committees for zoning in the city of Manor. I was volunteering. I was doing all the things, talking to everybody I could about real estate. But my path to Icon was very intentional, and it kind of bled into the following year. So I kind of say I iconed in 2020 and 2021 because my cap was in March, is always in March. And I feel like it was very intentional. And I did some things that I, you know, was kind of outside of the box for me, but it was very intentional. And I did it through listings. And that was my goal, and I met it. And I'm really, really proud of it.
Yeah, and same thing. It has to be. I don't know. I guess I didn't make becoming an icon a goal. I just knew that if I did the right things, it was going to happen. Like I'm a horrible business owner. I need to be better. I'm not going to be honest. I'm not very good at tracking my sales. I'm just, the beauty of EXP is I can log into my little passport mess and I can look at it and be like, oh, okay, I'm selling some stuff. Oh, I've got closes coming up. That's cool. So the reality is I really just focus on doing those things that I love to do. And that's meeting people and the networking pieces. But it's interesting though, my goals are more for the people that I surround myself with. Like when folks come onto the team or downline or whatever the case may be, I like to help them understand their goals and push them for it. I just feel like if everybody hits theirs, then I'll be fine, you know? Um, and so, but I don't know. I just feel like it's you really have to decide what that goal is and stick with it. And I think where people struggle too, which was part of the question, is time blocking. I think new agents is you have to time block and you have to create those goals. You have to have a vision. So many times we get into this business and everybody tells you these are the things you need to do, but they never tell you why. You don't know why you're supposed to do it, and so you're kind of going through the motions, but you don't have a clear vision of what it is that you're trying to do. So one of the things that I try to get agents to do when they first start is to create a vision statement. So if you can visualize where you're trying to go, it makes it a lot easier to create those steps that help you get there. So, like, my vision statement is to be the face of innovation and change within modern day real estate. And by having that as the vision statement, it encourages me and then the folks on the team to make sure that we are innovative and that we are being the face, which means we're putting ourselves out there. And I think another key where people struggle is the confidence. So if you have an opportunity to hang out with an agent that's doing business, just sit there, ask them to write offers. Hey, can I put this in for you? Can I go on a listing? I'll be your driver. I used to drive agents around just so I could hear them talk. I wanted to hear them negotiating deals, how they're converting leads. That's what I wanted to do. I'm not a script person. I need to visualize what's happening. So getting started by doing those things, what happened is I had that confidence because I knew the answers to questions and they hit you. And a lot of times as a new agent, you actually end up knowing more than you realize. Like, so I know for me personally, like if a newer person comes on and I already know they know the answer, I will push back on them because I'm like, you know where to find the answer. You already know this. And once people start clicking and realizing that, oh, I actually know the answer to this question, that's where the confidence comes. So for real, guys, if you're new to this, fake it till you make it. Hang out with folks that are running their business the way you see that you need your business run. And surround yourself with people that complement your opportunities. Like I said, I'm bad at keeping track of when the closes are or what's going on with that, but I have amazing people that I surround myself with that can keep track of that stuff for me so that I can go do my thing. And so as you grow and you start surrounding yourself with your team, if you're on a team, hopefully you have that, but putting your aces in their places, focus on the things that you do well, and that's where you get your best return on investment. Stop trying to be everything to everyone. If you read a book, that's great, but take out the bits and pieces that you're going to actually commit to and that you're going to be consistent with.